Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us again in another class, Poultry Science. Now today we'll be going into one of the major ailments that affect poultry chicken, and that's coccidiosis. Now, it has economic and health value, effect on animals, particularly birds, when the intestine fails. Now, when coccidiosis affects birds, a major culprit is the intestine of the bird. And so we want to understand what coccidiosis is, and let's look at it. Now it's going to be a two series. After this we're going to have another, but for the length of the video. Now, the invasion of cells of the intestine, when it's affected by the Eimeria species kind of protozoa. Now, when the cells of the intestine is actually invaded or affected by the Eimeria species, different variants of it, different species of it, you have certain inflammation. Some of the signs is inflammation and malfunctioning of the intestine. It leads to impairment of it, in which case the intestine is unable or will not be able to perform the function of absorption of digested food. Now remember that when food is ingested, or in this case feed ingested, it is actually digested and then absorption takes place. But in this case, absorption cannot happen because of these agents, the action of Eimeria species. Now, what are the common forms of Eimeria? You have Eimeria necatrix, Eimeria acervuline, you have Eimeria brunetti, you have Eimeria tenella, you have Eimeria maxima. Now it could be more than this, but these are the common ones. Now what they do is this: they cause the inflammation of the cells of the intestine, and so there's impairment. Some of the signs you're going to see are gastroenteritis. Now what is gastroenteritis? It is actually the inflammation of the intestine. Now if the word inflammation is actually big, inflammation means in local balance, in local way, swelling up, which is characterized by what? Redness and hotness. So it's red and it's hot, so swelling up. And then in some cases, if it's some parts of the body, you begin to see some pus on it. So when there's inflammation, the swelling up of the cells of the intestine. Now another thing you see about coccidiosis is a bloody diarrhea. What does bloody diarrhea mean? The animal begins to stool, and the stool you see traces of blood. That is a sign of coccidiosis. Another thing in the physical is the feathers are ruffled. Now this one you can't know until the bird is already killed or is dead, and then you carry out a postmortem, a PM, and then you get to know. Bloody diarrhea can be seen when they stool. You see the red, you see some streaks of blood on the stool. Ruffled feather can be seen visibly. So these are some of the signs you will see in your birds. Then once you draw 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because okay, this can be this in any bird, not your own, not yours, in any person's bird, and then you say this is coccidiosis. Ruffled feather, the feathers are not relaxed, they are just ruffled. The animal is not in good condition, the feathers are ruffled. Then you see paleness. Paleness results where there's shortage of blood. Of course, when protozoa infest any particular organisms, what they feed on is the blood. They take nutrients from the blood, and so the animal is deprived of the nutrients that they actually require. So the animal becomes pale. So when you see paleness, it happens because they've already started absorbing, sucking blood. There's also poor feed conversion, of course. Poor feed conversion will happen because where absorption is supposed to happen in the intestine, it's already impaired. So absorption will not happen. When absorption does not happen, feed cannot be converted from feed to meat. So conversion will not happen, or from feed to egg. In fact, first to meat, let alone. Then there's weight loss, of course. If you don't absorb feed, because the absorption, the intestine is already infected, and the intestine is infected and it's impaired. Impaired means it cannot perform its function. properly. So that means the animal cannot absorb the nutrients so that it can add weight. So it will be eating, even if it's eating itself, it may not be adding weight because the intestine is actually not doing the job. So the animal will lose weight. And it's general and it's common in most ailments, animal lose weight. Then another is lack of uniformity in the growth of the birds. You go to a flock, you discover that some are much bigger than the others. So that's a typical example of where you have a lack of uniformity in the growth of the animals. Some are bigger, much bigger, some are very skinny and thin. You know, there is Coccidiosis at taking flock. Then also you see, if they are laying birds, you see drop in egg production. Of course, you need energy. It is from the feed that they eat that they convert to what? Food conversion that is converted to egg production. Animals eat to satisfy two needs. Primarily, first is energy need. And so once energy is taken care of, then for production. Production could be for meat or for egg first. Then they drop an egg, then there's impaired immune system. And that's the truth. The food we eat help the immune system to stay up. And then when all these things happen, it can lead to death in some cases. Now, these are some of the things. I want you to go back. Have you seen a bird? Go around, check birds around your neighborhood. If you see anyone coming up with these signs, you might just be correct. I want to thank you for staying till this time of the class. Please, if you gain benefit, share. Also like, kindly subscribe so you get more of teachings like this. Also follow, and thank you so much. See you in the next class. Bye.